That's right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active red flag defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Appreciative to have you lot tuned in. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. The creative juices are flowing and you comment any thoughts throughout. Now, we've been linked with the Turkish Messi, Ivan Toney, Pedro, Neto, all of that sorts of stuff is about. We're going to get into that. And apparently, Charles Watts has provided an update where Emil Smith-Rowe is concerned and whatnot, where you know, his fitness is concerned, better yet, because as you know, it was fantastic to beat West Ham 6-0, but we know he was missing a whole host of players. We know Timber and Partey are long-term absentees. Tomiyasu was unable to play a part. Smith-Rowe allegedly rolled his ankle in training. Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus are not about. Fabio Vieira, and there's probably a player I've forgotten. But let's get straight into it. Subscribe if you haven't, turn on your notification bells, and again, comment thoughts, people. Charles Watts on his, I guess, you would call this a website, isn't it? Emil Smith-Rowe injury update and latest Arsenal team news. Smith-Rowe was a notable absentee when Arsenal's team was announced for Sunday's game against West Ham. The talented playmaker had worked his way back into Mikel Arteta's plans in the weeks leading up to the trip to the London Stadium, and there was a thought ahead of the game that he might get a start just as he did in the 2-1 success at Nottingham Forest. So there was plenty of disappointment when Smith-Rowe was not even listed amongst the substitutes on Sunday, with Arteta revealing ahead of kickoff that he rolled his ankle during training. But the good news is that Smith-Rowe's injury is not believed to be a bad one, and he's not expected to be sidelined for too long. He suffered the problem when trying to leap over a slide tackle during a training session at London Coley, so he obviously landed quite awkwardly on Thursday. He landed awkwardly on his ankle as he landed and suffered some bruising and swelling. Oof. He was keen to try and play through the pain, but with the Champions League on the horizon, Arsenal decided to not take any risks with the playmaker and left him out of the squad for Sunday's London derby. Smith-Rowe's ankle will be monitored this week to see if he could be involved against Burnley on Saturday, but even if he's unable to feature against Vincent Kompany's side, he will not be sidelined for long, and that will be a boost to Arsenal with big games now coming thick and fast. Gabriel Jesus with a knee injury, Zinchenko with a calf will be assessed this week as they try and return to full fitness. Takahiro Tomiyasu is hoping to return at Turf Moor after sitting out the win at West Ham, people. So let me know your thoughts. Again, hopefully Smith-Rowe can be given a clean run. Allegedly, Arsenal could break transfer record to sign Turkish Messi this summer. Clickbait at its finest. Arsenal have an interest in Galatasaray's Barış Alper Yilmaz, according to reports from Turkey. Journalist Burhan Kanters, forgive me for butchering names, has revealed that the Gunners are keen on the 23-year-old winger, with the club obviously liking his recent display. Now, we know we need a winger. We know a wide man on top of maybe bringing in a striker, a couple of central midfielders or two is how we better this squad. So it's quite easy to link Arsenal with wingers. I don't know how he's compared to Bukayo Saka. He's a year older, and I don't think he's done as much in the game as Saka, but for what it's worth, he's become a crucial asset allegedly for the Turkish Giants since December. Over his last 6 league games, he has contributed 3 goals and assisted 2, with Arsenal scouts taking notice of a talent likened to Saka. How? He's described as a prolific dribbler, while he can also win headers, force turnovers high up the field, and even find the back of the net. I mean, he's got decent skills. Apparently, he can play further back in the right back position, offering a degree of versatility. But hey, fair enough. He's played left back and right wing, a bit like Saka. I don't know how that helps him really and truly with being compared to him. Apparently, he's valued at, consistent high performances. Sasha Boy went for 30 million. Apparently, he's valued at 7.9 million euros and he's contracted until 2027. I would have to speak to my Turkish friends to get the lowdown on him because I know nothing about the player, but I'm sure he's decent. Moving away, the same website is saying Arsenal well positioned to beat Man United in Toney bidding war. Arsenal are in pole position to secure Ivan Toney's services, according to report. The transfer saga will enter its next and final stage in the summer, already heavily linked with a departure from Brentford in January. Toney, who recently returned from his gambling gambling ban, is expected to leave the Bees in the upcoming transfer window. And you would have seen Thomas Frank and Ivan Toney speak in the aftermath of Brentford's latest game about such. The 27-year-old openly flirted with a move in the winter, repeatedly declaring his desire to join a top club, while the speculation was also fueled by head coach Thomas Frank frankly admitting that the star striker is unlikely to remain with his club for much longer. However, a Brentford side at the risk of getting sucked into a relegation zone made sure to price out any potential suitors by slapping a price tag in excess of 100 million on Toney's head in order to keep him. It'll be a different story in the summer though, and Toney will become much more attainable for the likes of Arsenal and Man United due to his contract expiring in 2025. Apparently, Football Transfers exclusively revealed in January that Toney was keen to join the Gunners in the previous window, but as mentioned, Brentford's demands were deemed excessive. Nevertheless, Arsenal still are in pole position to snap up the 27-year-old. I mean, nothing new there, really and truly. Apparently, Eddie Nketiah could be sold in the summer. We'll have to see where he'll go, and maybe, depending on if Brentford can stay in the league, he could potentially be used as a make-weight. Let me know your thoughts. Romano has spoken about Deluded, who was once upon a time linked with Arsenal. He remains a player to watch in the summer. There have been rumours linking him with Man United, but that's an obvious link to make as he has a good connection with Erik ten Hag, going back to their Ajax days. But guys, there's nothing in this so far. Man United's business in the summer transfer window will depend on the new director of football. We are still waiting for an announcement on that, so it's too early to say or speculate on whether the Red Devils will make a move for Deluded. Arsenal are looking into defenders for the summer, it's true, but their preferred targets are not something that's been decided upon yet either. So it's all essentially guesswork, people. Apparently, Chelsea could have the advantage of on Arsenal where Everton's Onana's concerned, people, because Arsenal don't want to go past a certain price tag, people. Apparently, his performances for Everton have drawn interest from at the two clubs named in Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle, Barcelona, and others have been name dropped there, people. Apparently, Arsenal will not go higher than 50 million for Onana, who wants to leave 18th place Everton in the summer, while Barcelona are limiting themselves to 40 million. And that could allow Chelsea to swoop in and land Onana after Pochettino's side already started negotiations to sign the Everton midfielder. How many midfielders do they need, people? In January, for what it's worth, Romano said, "I'm aware there have been some big claims being made about Arsenal intensifying negotiations to sign Onana from Everton. Of course, this has some Arsenal fans excited, but I'm afraid it's not quite the information I have for the moment. My understanding is that Onana has always been one of the players appreciated by Arsenal, but I don't have more concrete updates than just that. Let's see in the next days what happens. But for Arsenal, it remains time to discuss internally before making bids." And we know Arsenal have issues in midfield, and we know we need to kind of eradicate that for next season where it's concerned. Apparently, Man United have been linked with Benjamin Sesko, a striker who's also been linked with Arsenal and Chelsea. Apparently, he's got a £42 million release clause. He was linked with Man United over the summer. Since then, he's obviously joined Leipzig and whatnot. I really like the 20-year-old. I know his form isn't setting the world alight, but I like him a lot. So, again, it's another striker, whether it's Osimhen, Toney, etc. There'll be a lot of speculation over such people. Moving away from that, that's just another tab, so we can move there. Once again, people, Pedro Neto is expected to attract bids in the summer amid strong interest from Arsenal. Liverpool have been linked with him. Manchester City have been linked with him. George Mendes is his agent, so obviously Barcelona could go in for him if and when the time's right. And Arsenal have historically been linked with him. It's believed that Arsenal are long-term admirers of the Portugal international and will be monitoring his situation at the Molyneux closely. Well-placed sources have also told Football Insider that Liverpool are also fans of Neto and could enter the race to sign him alongside the Gunners in the summer. Clubs across Europe are also interested in the electrifying 23-year-old and will be closely watching him at the Euro should he be selected. And apparently, profit and sustainability rules are creeping up on Wolves, and that could force the West Midlands side to sell some of their key stars, with sources telling Football Insider that Neto could be sold to unlock funds for deals of their own and alleviate financial concerns. And, he's got 3 goals to date and 8 assists in the Premier League. Showing he can play on the left and the right. I'm all for it, people. Not quite sure on the price tag. Surely 60 million to get things started, you'd imagine. One winger who is leaving the club, Marquinhos, apparently has agreed to join Brazilian club Fluminense on loan. We've said this a couple of times. The deal includes a loan fee and contains the option for Fluminense to make the move permanent this summer if certain clauses are met, people. As you know, he joined us in the summer of 2022 for 3 million quid. It hasn't quite worked out for him, but big him up, man. He's going Fluminense, where he's been won over by Brazilian by the Brazilian head coach Diniz, who seems to be given a lot of clout. It didn't work out for him at Arsenal, didn't work out for him on loan at Nantes, didn't work out for him in Norwich. So hopefully he can play well to obviously show what allegedly alerted scouts to buy him in the first place, back in his homeland, and be sold on for a profit, or come back to the club, people. Hasn't really worked out for him, people. And to be honest, based on the highlights, he looked crap as well. I'm not too sure with what these reports are being said. 65 million for Kai Havertz has already been spent, and we're not going to make that back. But for what it's worth, allegedly, according to this article, Arteta has lost his patience with Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz has reportedly exhausted the patience of Arsenal already, and it is now more than probable that Mikel Arteta will decide to sell him. You can forget about that, because we're going to get nothing close to the 65 million that we've spent. I think this article is nonsense, but if it was assuming Arteta is speaking facts, you should be angry at yourself. You've seen what Kai Havertz has been in the Chelsea shirt, even though I think he's been all right this season to a certain point. He's played in midfield in 21 of the 23 league games. Obviously, his more standout performances away from scoring winners when he has probably been as a striker, really. According to this Spanish outlet, though, Havertz could leave. So, yeah, speaking on a German international on an English club, initial reports coming out of Spain, not sure on that really and truly, but here it is. And this is also said, despite signing him just in the summer, Arsenal are reportedly already preparing for a Kai Havertz exit. I mean, unless Bayern Munich or someone in Germany are going to buy him, or there's something crazy with PSG, no one's giving our 65 million back. I mean, Chelsea probably couldn't even believe their luck that they only technically lost 5 million on the 70 they spent on Kai Havertz. And they probably said, you know what, he won us the champ, scored the winner, we'll call that quits. Arteta has to make it work in some capacity, so we can forget about that. Arsenal are keen to tie Ben White down to a new long-term contract, and after months of discussion, talks are now at an advanced stage. We've also heard that with Tomiyasu. Arsenal are now confident wonder kid Ethan Nwaneri will stay and remain at the club long-term amid interest from Chelsea and Manchester City. Once again, Liverpool are keen on Pedro Neto like ours. Arsenal are determined to improve their midfield during the summer transfer window, and they have identified their priority targets. Apparently, Aston Villa midfielder Douglas Luiz and Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi are primary targets, people, which we'll have to see. But again, we keep being linked with the same names. It's very easy to do such, and we've already said this, people. Ethan has agreed a pro deal when he turns 17, if he hasn't already, after a Man City approach, and he played 30 minutes against West Ham, which adds on to the however many minutes he played against Brentford last year. It'd be nice for him to obviously get a run out at the Emirates, people. It is believed he's firmly in the plans of Mikel Arteta in the 2023-24 campaign and beyond. He's a future star, but I know his feet are on the floor because he's a very level-headed individual, and he comes from a very well-rounded family that won't let him get excited. But I think fans just let the man develop. You know, him, Koza Jurubi, Charlie Patino, Waters, all of these guys that are in and around the first team. Not everyone's going to make it. And he turns 17 next month, which I was just focused on getting my driver's license at 17. But he's playing for Arsenal, and I'm sure his DMs are hella open and whatnot. You know, he's probably living the dream at 17, played for Arsenal in the first team, people. So it is what it is. It's lovely to see he'll sign a pro deal. Obviously, at 17, I think you can only sign a 3-year deal max. So within that 18 months from him signing that deal at 17, we hope we can convince him and sell him the project so that when he turns 18, you can commit him to probably a 5-year deal. Although if I was his agent, I'm going for a 3 or 4, because you're never really 18 months or so away from negotiating improved terms at a football club. But that's for another debate. So that's everything, people. Let me know your thoughts on Smith-Rowe's latest injury. Let me know your thoughts on actually the West Ham game as well. And let me know, do you think we have the strength in depth to compete? In theory, would you sell Kai Havertz again? What do you make of Zubimendi, Onana, Douglas Luiz? Which one would you want over that? Where you at with the strikers, Sesko, Ferguson, Ivan Toney, etc.? Do you think Mikel Arteta will give Ethan and a lot more of these Haylen boys some more opportunities in the games to come? And yeah, man, don't forget, at the time of making this video, it's Champions League week. So I'll be doing a watch along 7:50 on Tuesday and Wednesday. We start with RB Leipzig, Real Madrid. So yeah, smash the like button, turn on your engagement, people. Make sure you're engaging. Hit the like button, turn on your notifications. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, thank you for tuning in. Hope you and your loved ones are blessed and in great health, and long may that continue. Peace.
There's always just that active red flag, defending.
I think